All right, here's the thing, man. Every once in a while in this sport, somebody shows up who doesn't just fight, they shift the whole vibe. They make you sit up in your chair. They make you call your buddy like, yo, are you watching this right now? Because it feels different. It feels electric. And it's not just the knockouts. It's the way they move, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. And suddenly you realize this isn't just another fighter. This is somebody who might change the game completely. And that's what's so fascinating because we're watching that play out in real time. We're not looking back years later at some legend's career. We're in it right now, watching history unfold in front of us. And that's the craziest part because the energy around this guy, the hype, the debates, the highlight reels, it's all building into something massive. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss one of those rare moments in combat sports where a star is born in front of your eyes. So let's break this down piece by piece and really get into why everyone can't stop talking about him. Bro, listen, when you talk about flashy fighting style, you're talking about that rare kind of presence in the cage where every movement feels unpredictable, like you're watching a video game character come to life. Because it's not just about throwing punches or kicks, it's about the rhythm, the timing, the deception, and the way he blends that fluid footwork with sniper-level accuracy. And the crazy thing is how he disguises the violence under this almost playful swagger, like he's having fun in there. And that aura translates through the screen straight into the audience because you're not just seeing a fight, you're seeing a performance. And that's why people are glued to it. Because one second he's feinting with these weird little stutter steps, hands low, chin out, like he's daring you to take a shot. And the next second, a laser beam straight left cracks you on E button and it's over. And that flash isn't reckless. It's calculated. It's built on hours and hours of drilling angles, reading patterns, and then layering that with the confidence to pull it off under the brightest lights. And what really blows me away is the way he keeps composure while doing it. Because a lot of guys who try flashy stuff gas out or get caught, but he's relaxed, breathing easy, almost taunting, and that gives the whole thing this aura of inevitability, like you're watching a guy paint a masterpiece and you don't know what brushstroke is coming next, but you know it's going to be wild, and there's a psychological edge to it too, because when someone is in front of you doing things you've never seen before, throwing wheel kicks, switch stances, using distance like a whip, your brain starts to hesitate. And in that half second of hesitation, you get slept. And that's what makes fans go crazy. Because highlight reels are born from that kind of daring creativity. The ND of knockouts. You replay 100 times on Instagram and still can't figure out how it landed. And it taps into something primal because we're not just watching violence, we're watching expression, art in motion. And when it's done at that high of a level with that much confidence and swagger, that's when a fighter transcends being just another contender and becomes an icon because people don't just remember the win. They remember the way it looked, the way it felt, the electricity of seeing someone do things in the cage that shouldn't even be possible. Man, charisma and showmanship in fighting is almost as important as the skills themselves, because what really makes a star isn't just the knockouts, it's the way someone carries themselves before, during, and after those moments. It's the aura that makes you stop scrolling and pay attention, and that's exactly what separates certain fighters from the rest. Because you look at the walkouts, the crazy hair, the tattoos, the glasses, the whole vibe, and it screams individuality, it screams confidence, like he's telling the world, I'm not just another fighter, I'm the fighter you're here to see. And that resonates with people on such a deep level because fans don't just want technique, they want a character, they want someone to believe in or root against, and that's why the charisma factor is so powerful. It makes you care about the outcome before the first punch is even thrown. And when he steps into the cage with that grin, that swag, that playful energy, you can feel the crowd feeding off it like an electric current running through the arena. And that's showmanship. It's understanding that this isn't just a sport, it's entertainment. It's theater mixed with combat, and the best ones know how to blur those lines perfectly. And what's even crazier is how natural it feels, because you can't fake this kind of charisma. It's not something you can script. It has to come from the core of who you are, and that authenticity is what makes it stick. Because fans are brutally honest. They can smell fake from a mile away. But when someone is genuinely larger than life, unapologetically themselves, it becomes magnetic. And then you throw in the social media presence, the viral clips, the way he trolls haters while simultaneously charming new fans. It's this perfect storm that builds momentum outside the cage too. And suddenly, you're not just talking about a fighter, you're talking about a cultural figure, someone who dominates the conversation even when he's not fighting. And the crazy part is that energy bleeds into his performances because the showmanship doesn't end when the cage door closes. It's in the taunts, the feints, the way he points at opponents mid-fight, the little smirks, the mic drops in post-fight interviews. It's all part of this persona that feels bigger than life, and that's why people start drawing comparisons to the legends, because charisma like that doesn't come around often. When it does, it changes the entire landscape of the sport. What blows my mind is how some fighters just have this weird knack for showing up when it matters most. Like there are guys who look good in the gym, they look good against mid-tier competition, but when the lights are bright, when the pressure is insane, they crumble. And then there are those rare ones who almost feed off that chaos. Like the bigger the stage, the more dialed in they get. And that's what separates stars from just fighters. Because it's not about whether you can win on a random card in front of a half-empty arena. It's about whether you can deliver when the whole world is watching, when millions of eyes are glued to you, when every punch has the weight of expectation on it. And that's what this dude has. It's like he was built for those moments, the kind of fighter that doesn't just survive under pressure, but thrives, like his brain and body click into this extra gear that normal people just don't have. And it's crazy because you can see it in real time. You can see the confidence, the composure, the timing, all leveling up as the stakes rise. And that's why so many of his biggest highlights come on the biggest nights, because he's not just fighting the opponent, he's feeding off the energy of the crowd, the magnitude of the event, and channeling it into something almost cinematic. And that's why fans love him, because you know when the pay-per-view main event rolls around, he's not going to shrink, he's going to deliver a viral moment, a walk-off KO, a crazy finish, or a performance that has everyone talking the next day. And it's so rare to have that because pressure breaks almost everybody. But some people are wired differently. Like they see that pressure not as something to fear, but as fuel. And you can feel it in the way he carries himself, in the way he fights, that nothing is too big for him, nothing overwhelms him. And that's what makes him dangerous, because if you give a goo like that a platform, he's going to use it to write history. He's going to use it to put his stamp on the sport. And that's how legacies are built, not just through wins, but through iconic moments etched into people's memories forever. What's fascinating about this whole thing is the connection with fans, because fighting at the highest level isn't just about knocking people out or winning belts. It's about creating that bridge between yourself and the audience. And the crazy part is some fighters struggle with it even when they're great athletes. But then you get a guy who just naturally understands how to communicate, how to vibe with people. And it changes everything, because now you've got this generation of young fans who see themselves in him, the flashy look, the wild personality, the confidence. It feels authentic. And that's why they buy in. That's why they ride with him, win or lose. And when you layer that with social media, it amplifies the whole thing, because he's not US showing up on fight night. He's constantly dropping clips, engaging with trolls, cracking jokes, streaming video games, all these little things that build a personality outside of fighting. And that's what creates a community, not just a fan base, because people feel like they know him. They feel like they're along for the ride. And that's such a powerful thing in combat sports, where careers are so short and brutal. And what really stands out is how polarizing he can be, because some people absolutely love him. They'll defend him against anyone. And some people absolutely hate him. They want to see him knocked out. But the beauty of that dynamic is both groups are tuning in. Both sides are invested. And that's why he headlines pay-per-views and sells out arenas. Because when fans feel connected, they care about the outcome. And when they care, the stakes feel bigger, the sport feels bigger, and you end up with this snowball effect where every fight feels like a must-watch event. And it's not an accident. It's an energy that comes from being unapologetically himself, from not trying to fit into some corporate box, but showing the world exactly who he is. And people resonate with that because it's raw, it's real. And in a sport where authenticity matters more than anything, that bond with fans becomes a superpower. It pushes you into the spotlight and keeps you there long after the gloves are hung up, because at the end of the day, people don't just remember the fights, they remember how you made them feel. When you talk about potential to define a generation, you're talking about that rare air where a fighter goes beyond being just another name on a roster and steps into this space where they become the face of the sport for an entire era. And it's wild because not everybody gets that chance. Some guys are great, but they come and go. They have their moment, but then it fades. And then you've got these special ones who have the mix of talent, charisma, timing, and cultural relevance that allows them to actually shape the way a generation of fans experiences the fight game. And that's the crazy thing here, because you look at the skill set, the ability to put on highlight reel performances, the way he connects with people online and in the arena, the way kids copy his hair, his style, the way casual fans who don't even watch MMA still know his name, all of that adds up to this perfect storm that feels like the start of a movement. And what's even more insane is how early in his career he's already captured that spotlight, because usually it takes years of grinding, but some fighters just have that spark from day one. And when they also back it up with wins, with championship belts, with big moments on the biggest stages, then you're not just looking at a star, you're looking at a generational figure. And the impact of that ripples out way beyond the cage, because suddenly gyms are full of kids trying to throw the same combinations, or dyeing our hair to look like him, or mimicking his swagger, and it influences the culture, it shapes the future of the sport. And that's why people start drawing comparisons to legends, because when you can inspire the next wave of fighters while also dominating in your own era, that's when you're carving out legacy. And the potential here feels undeniable, because if he keeps winning, if he keeps putting on the kind of shows he's already given us, then in 10 years, people are going to look back and say, yeah, that was the guy who defined that chapter of MMA. Generation. You realize we're not just talking about some fighter who had a good run. We're talking about the kind of figure that comes along once in a decade, maybe once in a lifetime. The kind of guy who shifts the culture, who makes casuals into diehards and diehards into evangelists for the sport. And that's the beauty of MMA, man. It's not just about punches and kicks. It's about these larger-than-life characters who make you feel something every time they step into that cage. And love him or hate him, you're going to watch, you're going to talk about it the next day. And that's what makes the fight game so special, because it's raw, it's real, and it's unpredictable. And honestly, I think we're just at the beginning of this ride. So buckle up, because it's going to be wild. And whether you're tuning in because you believe he's the future, or because you're waiting to see him get humbled, either way, you're part of the story. And that's the magic of it. So good luck to everybody chasing their own path, chasing their own greatness. Keep grinding, keep pushing, because you never know when your moment is coming. And thank you guys for hanging out, for listening, for being part of this conversation, because at the end of the day, this sport is about all of us, the fighters, the fans, the community, and I appreciate the hell out of that.